Hello everyone. Today in our reading class we are going to be looking at our Unit 8 stories in our Skillful 2 book. Okay. At Unit 8 stories we have this infograph which tells us the question, what makes a good character? Okay. So here are some quotes about this question. A good character. They need to be active and make decisions about their own future. Is this a future of a good character? What do you think? They overcome challenges such as fear, difficult decisions, and enemies. A good character needs a motivation and reason for doing something. We can connect with them. They remind us of ourselves or someone we know. They often have secrets we discover during the story. Again, what is a good character for you? These attributes may be included as a trait of good character. So, here are some points to think about. Do you prefer to read stories about invented people or real people? So, as you can see, in this unit, we are going to be talking about stories, and inside those stories, we are going to see characters, right? And certain characters have certain attributes. So, features, right? Good. We are going to talk about that. Do you prefer to read stories about invented people or real people? That's up to you. Look at the infographic. Do real-life characters have the same qualities as hero characters in books? So a comparison of what fictional characters, books, the characters inside books and real life characters. What do you think? Do they have the same qualities, right? Attributes, features? Good. Why are people often interested in real life stories? Why are people, what do you think? Good. Let's move on. We are going to be watching a video. This video is called An Adventurer Returns. But before you watch, I want you to think about which adventure would you most like to do and why? Spend a year traveling around the world on land and in boats. Spend 6 months flying to major cities across the world, or spend a month walking through a major mountain range. Which one would you most likely to do? Okay, that's up to you. So this video is going to be about an adventurer. Alright, let's look at this.
Nearly 3 years into his trip around the world by boat and bike, Erden Eric is greeted by applause as he cycles to Sydney Opera House, where he shows a map of his trip to the crowd.
And then I kayaked to Aurora Bay, walked south using the Kokoda Trek to Port Moresby, coast to coast from Solomon Sea to Coral Sea, and then I was on my rowboat again for 33 days to get to Cape York. I reached Escape River, and after that I kayaked south from there 2.5 weeks to Cooktown, and I've been on the bicycle since.
Erden was at work when he decided to set himself the challenge of traveling around the world and climbing several mountains.
I am very happy. I have covered an enormous distance. It has taken me a while to get here, but I've finally made it.
Along the way, Erden is raising money for the charity Around and Over, which helps poor communities with basic education and resources.
I'm sharing all of my experiences with students from schools around the world. What we are trying to do with the foundation we started is to inspire children. We try to be a good example through these projects we have in Turkey, which support children's education. And these projects continue throughout this journey.
Ve eğitim projelerimiz de devam etmekte.
So, as we have seen, this video was about a person who kayaked throughout the world, right? So, and his name is Erden Eruç, as the video said. So, complete the sentences with no more than 3 words or a number. Okay. Erden Eruç is traveling around the world, right? He is traveling around the world with his bicycle, right? That's called kayaking. He spent days in his kayak to get to Cape York. He spent 33 days, right? 33 days in his kayak to get to Cape York. He told us during the interview. He was working for a company when he decided to travel around the world. This information is not given, so we are going to skip this today. He is raising money for a charity that helps provide basic education to poor communities, was the answer. So, moving on, we have the vocabulary part. Okay, we have a few words. As you can see, our words are what? Continents, discovery, expeditions, explorers, hero, scientific, unexpected, and unlucky. These are the vocabulary related to the text we are going to read. Okay, so let's try to put them into correct usages in this text. Okay, when people think of they tend to think of someone doing something dangerous, such as protecting others. Okay, when people think of a what? A hero, right? A hero, they tend to, a hero, okay, I guess this is not working for now. They tend to think of someone doing something dangerous, such as protecting others. Very few people would think of a scientist making a discovery of something that saves millions of lives. However, work has the potential to protect many more people. Scientific work, right? Scientific work has the potential to protect many more people. Scientists have traveled to many parts of the world and different collecting plant samples. So, where did they many parts of the world? Scientists and explorers, right? This is my subject of the sentence. So, explorers, many parts of the world and different continents, right? Different continents collecting plant samples. What's a continent? For example, Antarctica, Europe, Asia, Africa, right? These are called what? Continents. They are big compared to the countries, right? They contain countries actually. Good. Often they are, and they don't find anything that makes a big difference. Often they are unlucky, right? Unlucky. Why? Because they don't find anything that makes a big difference, right? Unfortunately. But sometimes they find something that surprises them and can change lives. Something unexpected, right? Something unexpected that surprises them, right? Good. For example, on one in Madagascar, scientists discovered a local plant, rosy periwinkle, that has since been used in medical treatments for serious conditions such as cancer. Expedition in Madagascar, right? In expedition, an expedition is what? It's a sort of adventure you go when you want to discover something, okay? Like during the during the historical times, there were many expeditioners discovering a lot of different things, right? Good. So discuss with a partner. Do you think a scientist is a hero? Why not? This is something for you to think. So before we read our text, again, read the situations below. Which people do you think are heroes? A soccer player recovers from a serious injury to score the winning goal in a FIFA World Cup team final. Is this a hero to you? A firefighter risks her own life to help people injured in a car crash. Okay. A mountaineer climbs one of the tallest and most dangerous mountains in the world. Okay. Each of these persons, right? Each of these people have different achievements. They achieve different things in their own league. So, which one is a good hero to you? Right? Good. Good. Let's move on. Our text today, national hero. When Robert Falcon Scott, or Scott of the Antarctic, right? They call him this, was reported that the King of England and thousands of British people attended his funeral. So, why did so many people care about one explorer? By the early 19,000s, most of the world had been discovered and recorded on maps, but the polar regions were the last unknown places to explore. Scott had planned a scientific trip in 1910, combined with an attempt to reach the South Pole on the continent of Antarctica. He hadn't planned to be in a race to be the first person to reach it. Unbeknown to him at first, right, without him knowing, a Norwegian named Roald Amundsen was trying to reach the pole as well. Good. Unfortunately, Scott lost the race to the pole and died on the journey back. His body was found in the Antarctic in a tent with some of his colleagues. Britain was going through a difficult time in the early 20th century. Scott became a national hero who once again made Britain feel great. This image of Scott remained until a publication changed people's opinions in the 70s. The books suggested Scott and his team had made many big mistakes. They may not have had enough dogs, the men were unprepared, and they were slow at making decisions. This was the claim of the book, right? Some, however, still argue that he was an unlucky hero. Scott wanted to be the first to reach the pole, but he also planned to conduct research. So he took a team of scientists with him. Unexpected events made the expedition into a race. Amundsen hadn't planned to go to the South Pole. His ambition was to reach to the North Pole, right? However, in 1909, two US explorers, Robert Peary and Frederick Cook, announced their two separate expeditions had reached the North Pole. Both claims are no longer accepted due to the lack of proof of arrival, and the speeds they claim were unbelievably fast. However, at the time, the claims forced Amundsen to change his plan and aim instead to be the first to reach the South Pole. Some have said that Amundsen's team were better prepared and that Scott made many mistakes. Okay. However, others believe Scott was unlucky with the weather and he was more focused on the scientific aims of his expedition. Different opinions here, right? Good. Different accusations, assumptions. Scott's expedition brought back 40,000 scientific items, including almost 20 kilograms of rock. Of the 2,000 animal and plant species the expedition brought back, some 400 were new discoveries. The most important fossil located next to Scott's body was a tree from 250 million years ago. Despite running low on food, the explorers went in a different direction to enable them to find this fossil. the tree had only been found in Australia, Africa, and South America. So, finding it in the Antarctic was proof that these countries and continents had all been joined together in the past. Good. If Scott hadn't had these scientific aims, he might have been the first person to reach the South Pole, and he might have lived to tell the tale. However, it might have been much longer until we understood the important history of our planet. So, this was the end of our text. So, in this text, what we are talking about a person called, mainly, we are talking about a person called Robert Falcon Scott, right? He is an explorer, and what he wants to explore was the North Pole. Then he dies on the way back home, right? So, global reading. Answer this question. Did Scott win the race to the South Pole? Did he win the race? Like, actually, no, right? So, because he was dead, right, along the way. So the race is at this part, actually, right? He thought good. Was Scott considered lucky or unlucky? Why? He was considered what? Unlucky. Some, however, still argue that he was an unlucky hero. Scott wanted to be the first to reach the pole, but he also planned to conduct research. Okay, he plans to go there first, but some explorer from Norway also does that. So there is this kind of race between them. Good. Unlucky. Why? Because, right, he couldn't make it. Why is Scott considered a hero today? Again, let's look at the sentence. If Scott hadn't had these scientific aims, he might have been the first person to reach the South Pole, and he might have lived to tell the tale. However, it might have been much longer until we understood the important history of our planet. So, why is Scott considered a hero today? Because he bring back many different items which enables us to understand of the world's history, right? Good. So he is considered a hero today. Okay. Match the names from national hero with the achievements. Roald Amundsen, what? First to reach the South Pole. Okay. First to reach the South Pole is the person he was the first person to reach the South Pole. Okay. Robert Falcon Scott, discoveries led to the theory that the world was once a single area of land. Robert Peary and Frederick Cook claimed to be the first to reach the North Pole. Okay, good. Facts are pieces of information that are definitely true. They are usually very specific and supported by proof or example. An assumption is something that is probably true, but that we cannot be certain about. It may not have examples and evidence to support it. So the main difference between the fact and assumption is what? Evidence and examples. Like an assumption is what? Sort of guessing, actually, sort of presenting opinions and ideas in the way of a guessing, okay? But facts, what? They are definitely true. They are proven, right? Good. So, read national hero again. Which of these sentences are assumptions and which are facts? How do you know? Discuss your answers with a partner. Scott didn't plan to race to the South Pole. This is a fact, right? He didn't plan this, actually. So, he learned along the way, right? Good. Scott did not plan the trip well. So, this is what? This is an assumption made by other people, right? Robert Peary and Frederick Cook didn't reach the North Pole. What? This is a fact, right? They didn't reach to the North Pole. the failure of Scott's expedition was due to bad luck, right? The failure of Scott's expedition was due to bad luck. Assumption again, right? Since luck is not something that you can prove, right? First of all, but again, this was also an assumption. Scott's expedition brought back many items for scientists to study. This is facts, right? Because like let's look at, right? They brought back 4,000 scientific items, right? This is the fact here actually. So but had reached to the North Pole, fact, right? But there are some claims, right? Claims, assumptions. Good. Let's move on. Okay. But practically, this was the fact. Scott's scientific aim stopped him being the first to the South Pole. Again, an assumption. There is not much clarity in that area. So people are producing ideas, opinions about that. So assumptions, right? Good. Good. Let's move on. These are some points for core research skills. How to make research. To narrow your search to as an explorer actually. To narrow your search to more relevant items, include more keywords in your search string and choose your search string with care. Which words best describe what you're looking for? Which are most likely to be used as words for making electronic links? Consider synonyms. Might unrelated subjects share keywords with your topic? If so, use at least one word that applies only to your topic. Which specific areas of your topic do you need to focus on? Which words identify these? So this if a search string proves particularly useful, note it down for future years. So these advices are mainly focusing on what? Categorizing your keywords, right? While searching for something, right? Especially making a research on something. Okay, good. Look at the different sources you can use for research. Discuss with a partner the strengths and weaknesses of each source. Again, academic articles, books, newspapers, the internet. These four category has their own perks, cons and pros, right? Academic articles might be a good source for your research, but the internet is vast, right? Maybe, so we can discuss about this. Read core research skills, narrow your search, then organize the words in the box below from best to worst for an internet search about famous explorers, right? This is you can do in your own free time, perhaps. Compare your answers with a partner. Which other words will be good to use in your search? Okay. Try entering different combinations of your search words into your tablet, laptop or phone. Which ones do you think find the most interesting and useful information? Okay. Make notes about, one of the explorers using your own words. This is for you to look at. Okay. So this was today. This was all. Thank you for listening to me and have a nice day.